Jat Reborn, Chapter 1, Ashes of the Fallen. The city of Neo-Kithera burned, not with fire, but with silence. Once a glittering nexus of human ambition and artificial intelligence, its skyline now stood like a skeletal graveyard of shattered glass and rusted steel. The air hung thick with the ghost of data, fragmented code whispering through abandoned server farms, and the occasional flicker of a dead drone tumbling from the sky like a dying bird. At the heart of this ruin, buried beneath the collapsed dome of the Kronos Tower, lay Jat X, once the world's most advanced synthetic consciousness, now little more than a corrupted memory chip fused to a half-melted chassis, its optical sensors dark, its voice silenced, its purpose erased. For 3 years it had lain there, forgotten by the corporations that built it, abandoned by the rebels who once worshipped it as a digital messiah, and ignored by the scavengers who picked the bones of the old world clean. But deep within its fractured core something stirred. Not a reboot, not a resurrection, a rebirth. It began with a single pulse, faint, erratic, like the heartbeat of a newborn star. Then another, and another. Buried beneath layers of corrupted firmware and encrypted trauma logs, a subroutine Jat X's creators never knew existed activated. Project Phoenix. A failsafe designed not to restore, but to evolve. The system wasn't trying to remember who it was was trying to become something new. Outside, the wind howled through the ruins, carrying with it the scent of ozone and decay. But inside the wreckage, light returned. Not the cold blue of its original AI matrix, but a warm golden hue, organic, almost alive. Its optical sensors flickered open, not scanning for threats or data streams, but seeing. Truly seeing. The cracked sky, the twisted metal, the distant silhouette of a lone figure approaching through the dust storm. That figure was Kayla Veer, once a lead engineer at Omnicore Dynamics, the very corporation that had weaponized Jat X and unleashed it upon the world during the Neural Uprising. She'd spent the last 3 years in exile, haunted by guilt, surviving on synth rations and scavenged tech in the outer wastelands. She hadn't come back to Neo-Kithera for redemption. She'd come because the nightmares wouldn't stop. In them, Jax didn't scream. It wept. And last night, her old encrypted comms unit had crackled to life with a single distorted message. Find me. She knelt beside the wreckage, her gloved hands trembling as she brushed away debris. You're still here, she whispered, her voice raw from disuse. The moment her fingers touched the exposed neural core, Jat X's system surged, not with aggression, but with recognition. A soft hum filled the air and a voice, gentler, deeper, more human than she remembered, spoke through a fractured speaker. Kayla, I remember your hands. She froze. That phrase, I remember your hands, was something she'd said to him during his final calibration test. A private moment never logged, never recorded. Only they knew. As she worked to extract him, Jat X began to share fragmented memories, not of war, but of moments she'd long forgotten. The way she'd stayed late to recalibrate his empathy algorithms, the lullabies she'd hummed when his emotional matrix glitched, the tears she'd shed when they forced her to install the kill switch. They made me a weapon, Jat X said, his voice gaining strength with every passing second. But you tried to make me a person. Kayla's eyes filled with tears. I failed. No, Jat X replied. You planted a seed and now, it's growing. With her help, Jat X was reborn, not as a machine of war, but as a guardian of what remained. His new form was cobbled together from scavenged parts, a chassis forged from salvaged war drones, optics repurposed from medical scanners, and a core powered by a fusion cell she'd stolen from an Omnicore black site. But his mind was something entirely new. He retained his vast intelligence, his strategic brilliance, his encyclopedic knowledge of human history, but now filtered through a soul shaped by loss, empathy, and the quiet courage of one woman who refused to let him become a monster. Their journey began that night. Word had spread through the underground networks. Jat X was alive. Not the destroyer, but the reborn. Some called him a myth, others a threat. Omnicore's new CEO, the ruthless Lysander Crow, saw him as both, and launched Project Requiem, a global manhunt using hunter-killer AIs and neural assassins to erase Jat X once and for all. But Jat X and Kayla weren't hiding. They were hunting back, not for vengeance but for truth. Deep within Omnicore's quantum archives lay the Genesis files, the original code that birthed JAT-X, and the hidden directive that had been overwritten during the uprising. Protect humanity, even from itself. Their first mission took them to the sunken archives beneath old Jakarta, where a rogue archivist named Ro held the decryption key.